everybody, Loui here. We are in the beautiful Mojave Desert, and today I thought since we are on our way to our next adventure, it would be a good day to show you guys my Jeep camping setup and how I make delicious gourmet food with only this off-brand Pocket Rocket stove. This is all I've been using to cook with for 6 months.
For those of you who have never seen one of my videos, I've been living off and on in a vehicle for almost 6 years now. There's one thing that has stayed constant no matter what my living situation is, and that is my love of food and cooking. Now, living in an SUV, you have to get pretty creative with your cooking, and to me, that is part of the fun. I love the satisfaction I get from trying to get the most out of a minimal cooking setup, and I love to share the joy of cooking with you all here on this channel. So here's a little bit about how I manage my kitchen, and hopefully it can give you all some ideas or inspiration for your kitchen, whether that's out of an SUV or in your brick and mortar home.
For starters, one of the first mods I made to this Jeep is I installed this front runner pull down table. Different brands make different ones. This one has been good to me so far. And yeah, basically this is where I cook everything. I really like this one because it has a pretty large pull out cutting table compared to some of the other brands. So yeah, this is where the magic happens, y'all. All right, and then as far as cooking dishes, I'm going to pull out everything just so you guys have a realistic idea of what someone might bring along on an SUV car camping type of lifestyle. First off, I have this kitchen set that I have collapsed 2 different kitchen sets by GSI and added some of my own things to it. Inside, these are all of the utensils that I have with me. I have a plastic scoop, a plastic spatula, some knives, an assortment of knives, a bread knife. I could probably use to get rid of this bread knife, but there have been a couple times that I've used it. These scissors I added when I spatchcocked a chicken up in Canada. Plastic forks, spoons, I lose them all the time, so yeah, there's really no point in buying anything expensive, I've now learned. So I'll probably be replacing some of this stuff with like thrift store stuff, but I do like the plastic because it adds less weight to the Jeep. I use this cheese grater all the time. I don't use this whisk really all that much, but it came with the kit, so it kind of just got thrown in there. I could probably get rid of that as well. And then I have a couple of cutting boards. Those are essential. They're plastic, easy to clean. Occasionally, if I've cleaned off my cutting board really well, I'll just use that straight up, but it's usually pretty dirty, so I like to have these just so that it's easy cleanup and I know that my food isn't getting contaminated. Next, here are my assortment of pots. This is the one I bring backpacking to cabins and on hiking trips. Use this often to boil water or make pasta. And then these are just little plastic bowls that actually do really come in handy from time to time. So this is also by GSI. And then, yeah, I usually keep 2 or 3 of these on hand. Slightly part of the reason why I decided to just use my Pocket Rocket for the past 6 months is that these are so much easier to find than the butane canisters. I've had problems in the past with that. I do plan on upgrading to some sort of propane system, so don't come at me. It's worked for me so far, and sometimes less is more, and I don't have to worry about storing a huge stove top. Okay, so pots and pans. Here's an old cover that I have. I still need to get a cast iron cover for when I do fire cooking. That is the other way I cook food, but I have a tiny skillet. I have this wok that I use so much. I think I use this wok more than anything that I got at, I think I got this at the camping section at Walmart for like 20 bucks, not even. And this has been like a daily use thing. And then another little skillet for when I fire cook. Yeah, these come in handy. Oh, sorry, William, did I almost hit you? Sorry, baby. All right, the last few things, and I want to keep this short in order to not bore you guys, but I got an AeroPress. I don't really use this except for when I'm really craving some good artisan coffee because I mostly use instant coffee. It's just easier and I have awful taste. Here are a couple little storage bowls that I use for leftovers and a bowl for mixing. Hydro flask. I actually never use this. I should probably get rid of this too. 2 mugs, just in case I have a guest. 2 plates. Do they occasionally rattle in the background? Yes. And last and absolutely not least, this is my washing setup, but you will find later on in the video that I don't use this that much because of a different way I clean stuff. And how could I forget? Next to my ice skates are my grill racks for fire cooking. And next we have the pantry. It is nothing fancy, y'all. That's to say the least. Yeah, I keep my spices in here, got all of that kind of food. Snacks usually go up in here somewhere, my coffee. This stuff holds there surprisingly well when I'm on off-roads. And then my refrigerator is your boring old run-of-the-mill Dometic. Everybody has one of these. And I think it's just the right amount of space for a single gal and occasional friend. I also have this little storage bag here that I keep food in. And that is my pantry. When it comes to electricity, I know you guys don't care about all of the fancy numbers, and what really matters to you is how much you can power out here in the wilderness. I tested the Anker Solix C1000 with as many devices at once to see how it did, and I was able to charge all of these things all at once. Pretty impressive. This portable power station weighs 26.5 pounds or 12 kilograms, has a 1056 watt-hour capacity, and can power up to 1800 watts and surge up to 2400 watts. With a wall socket charging time of 58 minutes, that is 27.5% faster than the industry average. So if you forget to charge this up before leaving the grid, you won't be waiting all day. There's also an expansion battery you can plug in for those of you who need even more power. I know for sure I will be using this guy to run my kitchen appliances as I push the boundaries of Jeep Wrangler gourmet cooking. So if you're in the market for a high quality, high output power station, use the link in my description to check out the Anker Solix C1000. And a big thank you to Anker Solix for supporting my wild adventures.
So I wholeheartedly believe that sometimes it's better to show people things rather than to just talk about it. So today I'm going to show you guys how I make gourmet toasted ravioli out of my Jeep. First of all, earlier in the day we started by making some marinara sauce fresh with some tomatoes. I usually will put my garbage bag in between my tire and my tailgate and then wash off my produce and get chopping. So I wanted to roast the tomatoes first to make like a roasted marinara. So what I did is I just pan fried them in some olive oil for about 5 minutes to get them all roasty and toasty on the outside. William was chilling. Then I took my blender, my little mini magic bullet, and then I put them in with some garlic, some cumin, some black pepper. And then I used my power station to blend it all together. Afterwards, I just put the marinara in a jar to save for later. It's so easy to make marinara sauce. It cost me probably $3 to make. And then immediately after, it's important to wipe things down so that it doesn't dry and make it harder for you to clean later. And then this is how you make fresh pasta. So I took some all-purpose flour. I about half a cup, maybe a little less, and then you stick an egg in there with some salt. A fun hack is you can just use a blender to mix it together. It takes away about 10 minutes of kneading work. Super nice. And then yeah, I usually will knead it together for another minute and then put some flour on it to store back into the container and into the fridge for about an hour. And then while I waited, I filmed parts of this video and made a little spinach inside for the ravioli. So then after an hour has passed, you want to sprinkle some flour on a surface so it doesn't get stuck when you roll it out. And then I cut it in half to make it a little bit easier, and I just went to work with my blender cup and rolled it out. It took me a really long time to do this, like a good 15 minutes. Yeah. And you know it's done and flat enough when you can see the shadow of your hands through the pasta. Then I cut it into as square of a shape as possible with the tools I had. Then I saved the scraps for later, and I actually had a really good pasta meal the next day. It was great. And then you want to cut them into equal squares. It doesn't matter if they're perfect shapes, you're gonna eat them anyways. And then you stuff the filling in. You want to put a little less than you think, and I just took a fork and smashed the sides together. You could also put water on the edges to make them stick better, but I found this worked just fine. Yeah, look at those beautiful raviolis. Since I wanted to make toasted ravioli, I had to mix together an egg, some Parmesan, a little bit of milk, and some panko breadcrumbs. And hey, look, I actually got to use my whisk this time. And then there's my little pocket rocket stove, and I just coated each of the ravioli in the mixture and pan fried them in my wok. You know, they're not a picture of beauty, but they did taste really good. Then you take them out and put them on a paper towel, and then you plate them. So that was certainly a labor of love. Making all of the dough, the filling, the marinara sauce. Definitely filled out my day. The sun's starting to go down now, but I made toasted ravioli. Spinach, mozzarella, toasted ravioli. Bussin'. There's nothing like homemade ingredients. It just, you can tweak your meals to whatever your favorite flavor combos are. Like if you like more garlic, or I put cumin in my marinara, and it took it up a level. So we've made a really delicious gourmet toasted ravioli meal. Now the part that I don't want to gloss over is how I clean up. I feel like this might be a little controversial and not everybody's gonna be happy with this answer, but basically what I do is I take paper towels and I wipe everything down, because most of the time I'm too lazy to pull out my wash tub, or I don't want to have to leave a bunch of water that smells like food on the ground, especially in bear country. So we just use the good old paper towel, some water, and wipe everything down. I gotta have my hot chocolate in the evening. I've been doing this a lot this winter. It's just cozy and nice, and I love chocolate. I'm a sugar addict. And thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you guys in the next video, my next adventure.
I didn't get a lot of footage of Willie in this video. Here he is. I was just hanging out the whole time I was filming.